Supply chain technology is life-saving, literally. And I'm not saying this to be dramatic. It actually can save lives. And when it comes to supply chain technology, VeChain is by far the leader in this space. Welcome aboard the Bitcoin Express. My name is Chase. Let's get to it. There are many use cases for blockchain technology, but sometimes it seems like we're stretching to find a solution for a problem that didn't even exist. But a big problem that we do face today is a lack of supply chain management. And VeChain right now in the crypto space is the leader in solving this problem. And they have been out for a few years now, and over time they have built many partnerships. And what are they tracking? Well, you can track almost anything, all having a different degree of importance. And we can see all of these partnerships that VeChain has built up over the years with some big companies, for example, such as PwC, from all sorts of industries, right? Real estate, financial services, wine importing. This is a big one. An estimated 30,000 counterfeit wine bottles are sold every year in China. And there actually is a great movie called Sour Grapes, which documents the story of Rudy Kurniawan, who made millions selling counterfeit wine. So there are many use cases for keeping track, supply chain management. Another big one are luxury goods. And we can see one of the partners with VeChain is LVMH, which owns Louis Vuitton. For example, you'll have a luxury good or a bag equipped with a VeChain chip so users can verify if the handbags are genuine or fake. And this makes sense because the founder of VeChain, Sunny Lu, was the former CIO of Louis Vuitton Greater China. So he understands that industry. He understands that it is filled with counterfeits. And something to note about VeChain is that Sunny co-founded VeChain in 2015. So when it comes to crypto and blockchain, VeChain is one of the OG projects that is still with us today, and they've been doing a lot of great things since then. So the list goes on, right? Automotive industry, right? You can share data about the vehicle that is tamper-proof, like for example, the mileage, creating trust between buyer and seller. And these are all great things, but what I'm really focused on, when I said in the intro that it is life-saving, I am focusing on the food industry and the medical industry, and this is big. This is where I think VeChain, or really just supply chain management on blockchain, really changes things for the better. Counterfeit medicine kills people. Over 1 million people die each year from fake drugs. And it's not only medicine, it's also food. And for example, baby formula, which is very fatal. And everyone is out there putting out their products, but there is no one keeping track. There is no one holding these companies or these brands accountable, right? It is a free-for-all. And when you have one person controlling a supply chain, they can say whatever they want. This is the importance of having a more decentralized supply chain. And in 2008, there was the Chinese milk scandal where milk and infant formula were adulterated with melamine. The chemical was used to increase the nitrogen content of diluted milk, giving it the appearance of higher protein content in order to pass quality control testing. Estimated 300,000 victims, 6 babies died, and an estimated 54,000 babies were hospitalized. Supply chain is absolutely needed for food and also, for example, as we can see here, baby formula and medicine. And the industry is filled with food fraud, right? Dilution, substitution, concealment, unapproved enhancement, mislabeling, counterfeits, gray market production, and this is all due to a lack of supply chain management. So the first thing that supply chain does, or something like VeChain, is it prevents these incidents from happening. But let's say the incidents do happen. How does blockchain technology help? It helps find the problem immediately and prevent it from affecting other people. And this is powerful because tracing contaminated foods with the use of blockchain would take only a few seconds instead of days, weeks, or months. So this is on the food side, but it also helps in the medical field as well. And as we know, VeChain continues to make partnerships over these years, and companies are utilizing the VeChain blockchain. And just this week, VeChain, together with DNV, created the world's first blockchain-based IVF service app called My Baby. And My Baby enables the verification of key steps of in vitro fertilization and provides private, exclusive, end-to-end data access for prospective parents undergoing treatment. So as you can see, supply chain management is very important, and VeChain is a leader in this space. So we spoke about all of the good things about VeChain, but in my videos, I always also have to speak about the negatives. So one of the negatives, or maybe depends how you interpret it, one of the negatives of VeChain is that it is somewhat or partially centralized. Now pause. Before you get upset, listen to what I have to say. In a previous video, I spoke about that when someone says something about your project, before you reply or get angry, look into why they might be saying that. And the reason that people say that VeChain is somewhat centralized is because it is built into the consensus algorithm. VeChain uses proof of authority, and per this protocol, votes are dispersed based on VET holdings and disclosure. VET holders without KYC credentials and with 1 million tokens in their account are assigned 20% of all votes, while VeChain holders with KYC and the same amount in their account are responsible for 30%. So this governance protocol relies on KYC, know your customer information, which is really against 100% decentralization, because decentralization 100% means that anyone can participate, good actors and bad actors, but that's not the case here. And now this is something that the VeChain founders have acknowledged themselves, and they have stated that their aim in designing this protocol is to achieve a balance between centralization and decentralization. So for this use case of supply chain management, it doesn't have to be fully decentralized like Bitcoin is, but to a certain level. And I have said in previous videos that projects even like Binance Smart Chain, right? They are partially centralized, or maybe some will say they're very centralized, but they'll probably stay here for a long time. But when it comes to supply chain management, you need to find the balance, right? It needs to be fast and it needs to be cheap. And in doing that, you have to give up a little bit of that decentralization. This is why Bitcoin, which is super decentralized, at the same time is very slow and expensive. It's very hard to have all three of these things in one. And again, guys, this is not an opinion. This is built into the protocol, proof of authority. It is a consensus method that gives a small and designated number of blockchain actors the power to validate transactions. This is how you get fast block times. This is how you get close to zero fees. Now, I don't think this is a huge problem, right? I just want you guys to understand that when people say VeChain is centralized, there is no denying that to a certain extent it is centralized. But I do not think that this is a problem for the use case that VeChain is going after. And right now, VeChain is at about 13 cents. And I definitely do believe it is undervalued. As you can see from this video, there are many use cases for supply chain management, and VeChain is a leader in the space. But I do not think that VeChain will be able to explode on its own, just like every other altcoin in this space. It still follows Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin is still around the $30,000 or it goes down to $20,000 range, VeChain will follow along with it. But if Bitcoin does continue to climb, or whether it's this year or next year, VeChain will follow as well. I definitely do see a lot of room for VeChain growth in terms of it being an investment. I'm a fan of VeChain. They continue to grow, they continue to make partnerships, and they continue to save lives. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Is the centralization with proof of authority, is that an issue for VeChain, or it is what's needed for this system to scale and actually be useful? Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time.